Welcome to another episode of the Make Mental Health Matter show. I am your host, Kelly Melissa Reinhart, and as with I think every show that I have, I am very excited for you to be here and for my guests to be here today. We really, if you've been watching the show for quite some time, you already know that I love to bring guests who are either experts or they are advocates in the mental health space. They have a story of why they do what they do and bringing you resources, because the whole goal of the show is to let you know that you're not alone. Whatever you might be going through, there are so many people in this world that really truly want to help and have created some really cool processes, or they have gone through experiences in their life, which ultimately they take what they've learned and they create something new for you as a person to be able to, whether it's a process or maybe it is a event or it is something that you can be a part of, like a community. And it's really cool that I am honored to have so many guests that are in that space, including my guest that is coming up here in just a moment. So let me read without going into multiple things. Let me read the bio of my guest that's coming up. So Dr. Bragg is a double board certified physician, a 5-time best-selling author, a certified high performance coach, and creator of the Bragg Factor. She uses the Bragg Factor to teach people how to own and communicate their value. This will help them to increase their self-confidence, which will enhance their ability to reach their goals. Dr. Bragg has a YouTube channel called The Bragg Factor, where she gives tips for business owners and entrepreneurs every Tuesday. So without further delay, Dr. Bragg, thank you so much for joining me as the guest today.
Thank you, Kelly, for having me.
Yeah, so I gave a short synopsis of what you do. Can you just tell the audience a little bit more about your story and kind of what led you to creating the Bragg Factor?
Well, I'm an interventional pain specialist, and that regularly means that I'm a doctor who treats people who have orthopedic and spinal problems, but I specialize in non surgical treatment. So I use injections and medications and exercise and things like that to help people to alleviate their pain without surgery. One of my primary things I do, Kelly, is back pain. And we know that only 5% of people who have back pain really need surgery. But in the United States, back surgery is done at twice the rate of any other country. And so I do what I do because I don't want people to have unnecessary surgeries so that they can live a pain free life without having to have surgery if they don't need it.
Wow, that I know I didn't know it was that high on how many back surgeries people actually get, but I would imagine that if you're going to the doctor over and over and over, that would lead them into the place of being like, well, surgery is the only possibility.
Unfortunately, a lot of people start with surgery, and that's why I do what I do and why I do programs like this is because I want people to know that you want to exhaust just like in other parts of your body. You don't first go and say, remove my breasts or do something. You want to try things. You don't first ask for a hysterectomy. You want to try things. And the same thing with orthopedic problems. But people tend to say, is my back gone? Cut on it. You should think of it and the same way you think of other parts of your body and not ask for surgery until you have exhausted the non surgical things, unless there's a need for immediate surgery.
Yeah, I mean that makes so much sense when you say it out loud, right? Yeah, you wouldn't just be like, "Okay, take my ovaries. Hey,
That's
take
right,
my."
you don't. But people tell the back doctor, just take my back, give me surgery, give me surgery. And we know that you only really have about 4 reasons for surgery. If you have weakness that's progressing, if you're losing control of your bowel or bladder, or the pain is just so bad that all the other things have failed. And so there are not a lot of reasons that you just should jump immediately to have surgery. But if you're losing control of bowel and bladder, where you can't control it, obviously that's immediate need for surgery. But the pain that we call sciatica, that everybody's heard of, that radiates from the back down their leg, you don't have to have surgery for that.
Wow. I mean, that's great to know. And I'm curious because I do know surgery, back surgery can take some time, especially healing or like if anything goes wrong, like it's a very long, extensive process. So I'm really curious about the brag factor and how that helps.
Well, the brag factor is kind of, and after I've treated over 20,000 patients in my 25 years, I learned that when people had a pain, like your back is hurting, you feel stuck, you don't want to move. You know, you get up, you've been pulling weeds in your garden or shoveling snow. We have a winter alert here today, and your back is hurting. You said, "Oh, I don't want to move." Well, the same thing happens if people have in a bad relationship. Oh, I don't know what to do. If you are in a career place and you don't know what to do, you feel stuck. And so, what I learned over the years, Kelly, pain is pain. It doesn't matter whether it's your back, you feel stuck if it hurts, your heart in a relationship, you feel stuck if it gets hurt, or if you have a career problem, you feel stuck. So I created the brag factor because the brag factor helps you to learn how to communicate and understand your value. And even when you're sick with back pain or with your career or relationship, if you understand your true value, you can maneuver and move through those processes much easier. And so that's why I created the brag factor because it teaches you how to own and understand your value.
Wow. I mean, I know what you're talking about, but that's just because I have one of my modalities that I am a coach for is neurolinguistic programming, and we talk about symptoms and how I mean the body like stores information and all of those type of things. So I totally understand what you're saying, but for somebody that is out there that's like I've tried everything, right? The everything and I don't quite understand what you're talking about, like finding that value. Can you explain that a little bit just so that they kind of get what that
Well,
means?
the brag factor, last name is Bragg, so it's a framework that I've created that you can apply to your life. And so that value has 5 steps to system. Using my name, B, behave as if. So if something's going on with you and you say, "What do I do?" Kind of identify a person that's doing what you want to do and kind of behave as if you're that person and make your behaviors like that. But with the brag factor means what is your brag factor? What is unique about you that makes you different from other people? All of us have something that's unique about us that makes us. And how do you find that? Sometimes it may be the things that your friends always ask you for. It may be color coordination. You're going out today and they always say, "Now, Kelly, that blouse would go better with this pair of pants." So you kind of find that Sheila is good at doing that color coordination. That's her gift. She's good at organizing. So I tell people, write down what people have told you and they come to you all the time about. And that's going to help you to understand what is your value, what is that unique thing you bring to your family, you bring to your friends, or to your profession? So that's your brag factor.
I love that. Yeah. It is, it's interesting to think about what people come to you the most for and associating that with your value. That's pretty cool.
Right. And when you understand that, you can do what I call the 4th step. We got behave as if, R, resist the urge to complain and quit. A stands accept no limitation. The first G in Bragg says grow your gift. And the last thing is all based on gratitude. And so when you see what people come to you for, you want to grow that gift. And that's going to help you know your value and you can grow it. You say, "Well, they always come to me if they're having a party. What do I serve? What do I do?" And you may think that's something small. But no, that says that you have great vision, you have great, good organizational skills, and that's why people come to you. So you could grow that gift and you could make it a business. I had a young woman that I was coaching, and she wanted to have a marketing, do something in marketing, but it wasn't going well. I later found out that she was a graphic artist. She was very good with colors and all of that. So she created a business around her hobby, which was graphic artist things, because people are always asking her about putting things together to make the colors right, to make it look right. And so she grew her gift, and that was great value. And that value for her became a business.
Mm, that's awesome. Yeah, and recognizing that that's the thing, right? Like that's really really cool.
Really cool because I had a lady who was good in organizing, and she said, "Well, what can I do with that? Do you know how much people pay nowadays to have a person to organize their closet? How many of us at the end of the year, somebody need to throw this away, I need to do that, and never can get that closet straight? You can get someone that has good organization skill to do that for you, and that's value that you bring. So those kind of things you want to keep a list of what people coming to you for. Organize, and here you are, an organizer. And in this day and time where a lot of people, when they get older, they move with their daughter, move with their children, and they have to downsize. You hear about people downsizing. What do they need? An organizer. You can't take all of that stuff from a 2,000 square foot apartment to a 1,200 square foot one. So someone has to tell you junk, 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 good.
Mhm.
And so the organizer.
Yeah, I actually I had a friend at one point in time and she's like, "I just like organizing all the time in my house and I wonder if I could start a business that way." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sure people would pay a lot of money if I don't have to do it and somebody else comes in and does it for me. Yes, please."
Yes, she needs to know that that is a very good business and very much needed.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I love the connection of, hey, these are things that I like to do, that I enjoy to do, and how can I even make this into something that's bringing me revenue? And I love it, which I think is half the battle most of the time.
Right. And so I tell people just write down a list of what are the things people come to you, what are your strengths, and then that's gonna help you to understand your unique brag factor and the value that you have brought to so many people that you didn't even recognize it. All of us have something that's unique about us, and just say, that's my brag factor. That's unique about me. And then you just put a little effort in it and help it to grow or whatever you want to do with it.
That's amazing. And I love how you like tied it in even with how with your physician, like all of the elements come together, especially as you talk about value and how you can help people. And I'm sure it all just like ties together.
Yeah, because you can't imagine when people have back pain, which is one of the top reasons people come to the doctor, and say they have a surgery or something, and they're not able to go back to their work. And some people tie so much of their value to what is their job, what do they do with their job. They're like, what am I going to do now? They lose their position with their family and whatever. And I tell them, you still have value. There are other things that you brought to that family that were unique to you, and that's where it's important that you understand the value you brought, and then you just do some exploration and find out there may be other things that you can do. I had someone who was a pharmacist and hurt their back, and they weren't able to stand up in a retail pharmacy all day. But he was so depressed about that because he was losing so much income. But I tell him, your value is your mind. You still understand pharmaceuticals and things like that. So he created a pharmacy consulting business.
Wow. That is amazing. Yeah. And then you just, I mean, adding the levels to it and being able to make it even bigger. It's just, I love the levels of the brag factor. That's awesome.
Right. That's the way it goes. And so it helps people to understand. And so a lot of people, in order to make it successful, one thing that people have to do with the brag fact, if they wanted to do a business, they got to do a little bragging. And we are taught not to brag, especially women. And so I take time to do talks and seminars and workshops to women to empower women, particularly with about bragging, because we don't like to brag. And they say if there's a job, Kelly, that has 10 qualifications, a man will apply if he has one of them. And guess what? If a lady has nine, and she lacks one, she won't apply and say, I don't have everything they want. And so she lets that man get that job, and he only had one qualification, and she had 9. And
Wow.
so you have to get over that about bragging, because guess what? How often are people going to come by your desk in the workplace and say, hey, can I give you a raise today? You that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. And so you have to be able to brag with intention so that you can promote yourself and get some of the things out of relationships, both personal and professional, that you deserve and that you want.
Yeah, I love I in my past was not much of a what I call a self-promoter. I love brag, of course, but yeah, I just assumed that people would notice the good work that I was doing. But like you just said, nobody comes by your desk and is like, "Hey, you need a raise today and you're doing so awesome." They focus on the negative. So you have to brag.
You've got to brag. But I have a template for that of how people can brag. And it's just a 3-step process. You want to tell if you're at a networking event, or you want to tell people who you are. What do you do? You're a podcast producer. You are the organizer, like your friend you said, or you're a computer salesperson. And I've done this for 25 years. But the second thing, you want to tell people how what you do benefits them.
Mm.
I'm an organizer. That means I can come to your home and organize your closets. I can organize your garage. You think about those junky rooms people have, and you just put it right in there at the second step of the benefit to other people. And then what is your wow factor? What is unique about you? I've done so many closets around town that now I don't have to organize. I have to advertise. People just call me, and everybody's going to call you then to do their closets. But you're right. They don't come by your desk and say, let me give you a raise. And unless you learn how to brag, you won't get the promotions and the salaries that you need, because you need to understand your value and help that employer and other people know it.
Yeah, I mean, just all of that is really important, and I think a lot of it goes with pain management and mental health, and there's so many other factors that you could really layer in there. And I would love to. I want to talk about that a little bit more once we get back. We're gonna go to our quick first sponsored break, but once we get back, I'm gonna circle back just a little bit to the pain conversation that we were having and kind of how this is all tied together. So we'll be right back after this quick sponsor break.
Okay.
Have you ever felt completely alone?
Like your life doesn't matter.
One person dies due to suicide every 40 seconds.
You are not alone. Call the National Suicide Lifeline at 988.
Hope and recovery is possible.
1 in 8 people globally live with a mental disorder.
That's why empowering minds saves lives.
We need your help.
With only $19 a month, you help us save lives through mental health and suicide prevention education.
Scan the QR code or go to makementalhealthmatter.org to sign up as a warrior for mental health today.
What's going on, beautiful people? I'm Sean French, and I am the host of the Determined Society. Join us right here on Vitality TV every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern for stories of grit, determination, and excellence right here on E360 TV.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kimberly L. Wilson, also known as Dr. Burnout. You can catch me on Leadership Beyond Burnout on E360 TV on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Vitality Network, where we focus on emerging women leaders
And like that, we're back. If you happen to be joining the Make Mental Health Matter show, thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you go back and listen to our conversation prior to this. Dr. Bragg and I are having a wonderful conversation about what she does specifically, helping people through pain, but then also has the Bragg Factor, which helps teach people their value and really elevating that value that they have, whether it is something that your friends come to you for the most. We were talking about organizing, or maybe it is something beyond that. So I love that you tie in the value of people and show them that there is more to whatever they're doing in life currently, because maybe they have had a surgery, which hopefully you can help so that they don't have to get to that surgery. But I did want to, like I said before we went to the break, I want to circle back just a little bit back to the pain, and being able to help people so that they don't have to get surgery. Because I know in my family and my husband's family, multiple people have had to get back surgery actually. So when you said that, I was like, wow, I wish I would have found you prior to them actually getting surgery. But can you tell the audience a little bit more about all of that and why what you do is so helpful instead of going straight to surgery?
It's so helpful because it's going to be less time to heal, hopefully, if you come earlier. I'm a pain management doctor, and a lot of people equate that to coming after I've had surgery, after I failed surgery and the surgery didn't work. What you really need to do is come to the pain doctor first so that you know that you went through the non surgical treatments first before you put the rods and the screws in your back. Because the truth be told, when people come to me after they've had 5 surgeries with rods and screws in it, there's not a whole lot to be done then. And so you want to come early if you can. And some of it is about understanding. People come to pain doctors and they think they're going to get meds, MED, medications. It's not about the medication. I say you need to transfer meds, MED, to M, thinking about your mindset. Get your mindset focused on healing. When you get up in the morning, you tell yourself that I'm going to have a good day, and move from thinking about chronic pain to thinking about how you can move and be more positive about it. And you control your subconscious mind. There's something in the brain called a RAS, reticular activating system, that when we get up in the morning, we can have that part of our brain to move toward opportunities versus obstacles. So I tell people, work on your mindset and don't get in that downward spiral of, oh, I'm doomed now. Oh, it's gloomy. So your mindset, you want to get educated about whatever your problem is. You can go to my YouTube station for that, and it's called Dr. Winifred Bragg. And I do tips every Friday on pain strategies and things you can do to help with your pain. I tell people to get up every morning and do some stretches. You want to do some stretches, about 30 minutes of stretches. If it's your neck that's bothering you, some stretches for the neck, or if your back, whatever your problem is, stretch it. It's because the longer you lay in bed, one of the things people think, if I just could lay down. No, when you lay down, think about it. The longer you stay in bed, Kelly, you get up, you feel like an old woman. So you don't want to lay in the bed. That's the thing that we know in the past. You want relative rest, but you want to move around. You want to move around and get things moving. And then you want to make sure you get adequate sleep, and you want to do exercise so that the endorphins, the natural pain relieving substances in the brain, are released to relieve your pain. And I tell people the D in this framework, MED, do something you like every day, whether it's listening to music, whether it's walking, whether it's meditation, but do something you like every day. And then they add stretch and sleep. So MEDS, those are things that are essential that you need to do to complement it. And don't go to a pain doctor just seeking pain meds. You may need some pain medication, but it's not all about the pain medicine. It's about how you move toward doing these other things, your mindset, doing the exercises, doing something you like, and making sure you get enough sleep and doing the stretches.
Yeah, so mindset is such a big thing, especially when you talk about pain. And I know I've had people say, well, it's not just my mindset, blah, blah, blah. If I could think it away, I would totally think it away. Right? You probably hear that all the time.
Right.
But it's so true. I mean, So I'm actually going through this program that teaches me, they call them PQ reps, but it's basically you start focusing on whether it's like your touch or your breath or sound, but it's taking all of your focus and energy towards something else than like those automatic thoughts that come up or pop up into your head. And it's really starting to help shift my brain of like when I start to even laying in bed, my thoughts, right? I'm like, oh, I got to get this done and this done and this done and this done. And then when I start to redirect, even if it's just like a small little rolling my fingers together and feeling the actual ridges of my fingers, right? It's like taking my mindset away from that. And it has been not that pain management is a thing, but just those automatic thoughts, it has been starting to restructure my brain to be able to calm down whatever's going in my head. So I could only imagine potentially using that for pain management too.
What people don't understand is we used to wake up with about 90,000 thoughts, most of them negative. And there's a meshwork back again called the reticular activating system that acts like a filter, much like a water filter on your faucet. And it's there to filter out the dirty stuff. So if you had a cup that was filled with dirty water, the only way you're going to get clean water in it, you have to keep putting new clean water in so the dirty water falls out. And so that's why it's important in the morning, like you people say, if I could think it away. But we know that people who have the will to live even when they have very bad diseases. People that had the will live longer. And if you give up, you won't. And so it's kind of like I can tell you, have you ever wanted a new car? And I was in med school, and I remember I had a car. I didn't have to look at the speedometer, Kelly, because it got to 55 miles, that thing would shake, and I knew that I was going too fast. And so I wanted a new green Honda. Everywhere I went, I would see someone driving with that new green Honda. So if you think about things in your life that you really want when you it's on your mind and you're going to see it all day long, it may be that guy that somebody wants to date, and you're like, every time I go somewhere at work or at school, there that woman is with that guy because that's on your mind. And that's the same thing you can do with the negative things you think about your pain. When you focus on it all day, you're going to hurt more. And I've had people that really buy into it and understand that pain is complex, but you have to start with what your thoughts are so that you get your mind together. Because if your mind's not right, you're not going to do the stretches, you're not going to do the exercises, you're not going to take your medication right. So the mindset is an essential part that so many people neglect when they're trying to deal with the pain.
Yeah, I reflect on the saying of where your focus goes. I'm gonna probably say this backwards, but where your focus goes, your energy goes, or where your energy
Right,
goes, your focus goes, whichever way it
right.
goes. But and I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, what are you it didn't really click in my brain, and then I started thinking about it, and yeah, like if you're focusing on the pain always, that's what your like your body is going to react to that. But if you're trying to not focus on the pain and something else, then that's definitely it's going to start shifting the brain.
Right, because you're going to amplify it and then you're going to get very stressed over it. And
Mhm.
then what's going to happen? The acid in your stomach increases. So there you start feeling queasy in your stomach. That's because you did some of those things to yourself by increasing your stress. And so we want to try to diminish our stress level as much as we can when we have pain, because as we amplify the stress, we're going to amplify the pain, and then it's going to become a cycle. And that's why you want to make sure you get the 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and you want to stretch and do the stretches and do the things that you can to control the pain. But more importantly, find something you like doing every day that's yours, that you can relax and, like I said, listen to music, watch a ball game, watch television, or walk with something that you enjoy so that you can feel laughter. Because, I wrote an article on about the benefits of laughter.
Mhm.
Laughter also helps people decrease pain. And so if you could just go to my website, knockoutpain.com, and it's free, and you can get that article about the health benefits of laughter. And so why not do some things that bring you some laughter so that you can live a more pain-free life?
Yeah, I love that. So many good tips. We're gonna go to our quick last sponsored break, and then once we come back, I want to just recap a couple things that you said, making sure that everybody caught the acronyms that you were talking about, and a couple other things. So we'll be right back after this quick sponsored break.
Okay, I'll be here.
1,917 people die daily from suicide globally.
I lost my middle sister, Carrie, to a completed suicide on February 20th, 2017.
How does Make Mental Health Matter save lives?
Number 1. Awareness.
My story, all over it, isn't unique. I am a domestic violence survivor. I was in active addiction, and because of Kelli and the work that she does and the opportunity to have my voice heard, I was able to stay clean and sober and have hit a year. I'm still here, and if it wasn't for Kelli answering my call the day that I thought I was going to take my life.
Number 2. Conversation.
I'm curious, and I know that I've heard a lot in the BIPOC community, it is very hush-hush. It's like one of those things that you don't talk about. Like, you literally feel like it's not a conversation you can have. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
First, shout out to Kelli, because I'm glad that she asked the question. I researched you before I went on your show, and I saw how real and authentic you were. And I just appreciate the question, because it is different, and we have to have tough, courageous conversations. So yes, I always say I'm a triple diversity threat. I'm a Black woman with multiple disabilities. Now, I'm not really a threat, but to other people, I may be, because people fear the unknown and what they're uncomfortable with.
Number 3. Education.
Kelli's passionate commitment to mental health awareness is a beautiful thing. It's clear in her social media posts, it's clear in the resources that she puts together, in the activities that she provides, her collaboration with organizations, and the consistent way that she continues to deliver a message, encouraging people to understand that they can share openly and to break the stigma around mental health. Kelli's topics cover children and adults, talk about things that we can do as a community, things that we can do individually, and her website is packed with information and resources and all kinds of contacts that you can use to reach out, whether you're dealing with something yourself or you're looking to help somebody else who is struggling. I encourage you to check it out.
And like that, we're back again. Thank you for joining the Make Mental Health Matter show. If you happen to be just tuning in, again, make sure you go back and read, watch all the things that we've been talking about. So I want to make sure, because before we went to that break, you have some really great acronyms that you use, right? So the BraggFactor, but then also MEDS was with the pain management portion. So can you run through those one more time, what MEDS means?
Meds is because people with pain always talk about, can I have a pain medication, a med? And so I say that your meds should not be just thinking about what are the medications that I can take. Medications may be helpful, but what else are you doing? What is your M, your mindset? Are you waking up in the morning with the right mindset so that the brain moves you toward opportunities rather than obstacles? And then E stands for exercise. You want to do exercise so that you can increase the E, the endorphins, so that endorphins can be released, and they are natural pain relieving substances. And then the D stands for do something that you enjoy every day. Because if you do that, that's going to help you to relieve stress, because we know more stress, more pain. And then S, you want to do your stretches 30 minutes a day, and make sure you sleep. Get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a day. So that's MEDS. And I have a YouTube on that. If you go to Dr. Winifred Bragg, you can find my YouTube on using meds, MEDS. And then the last acronym or the framework is using my name, Bragg, BRAGG, which defines the system that I created, the Bragg Factor, to help you to own and communicate your value. And B stands for behave as if. R stands for resist the urge to quit and complain. A, accept no limitation. G is grow your gift. And the most important G or letter in that framework is gratitude. Because we know that people who show gratitude are healthier, happier, and live longer. So it's BRAGG. And I invite you to go to the BraggFactor.com website. And my pain relieving website is called knockoutpain.com.
Nice. Thank you for recapping that. I wanted to make sure that the audience got the different acronyms and what they meant, and I just think that they go hand in hand, right? Like when you're able to find your value and you know what you love, and maybe you have been experiencing pain for some or part of your life, and you're in this place that maybe you're feeling really super stressed, or maybe you are coming up to the potential of having to get a surgery, knowing that there's so many other ways that people in general can go about, and that you have a program that really helps not have to do the surgery, right? Because just because you do surgery doesn't necessarily mean that it's all just going to go away.
That's
So,
right. So many people have surgery and they call it failed back syndrome. So many people have surgery and the surgery didn't help them. And sometimes the surgery can make it worse. But, so that's why you want to say, before I have surgery, I've exhausted all my non surgical avenues. I'm not saying that no one doesn't need surgery. There are people, about 5% of the people for back pain need surgery, but certainly not all. If you have 100 people, that only means 5 out of that 100 should really need back surgery. Yet more than that are getting it. And so you want to be empowered with the knowledge and education to make sure that you're getting the alternatives before you have surgery. I did want to tell everybody, Kelli, that if they go to my 2 websites, they can get, I've written, as you said, some 5 best-selling books, but they can get a copy of free chapters. They can get a free chapter from my best-selling book on back pain from the website knockoutpain.com. And if they go to the BraggFactor.com, they can get one on my best-selling book on how to create your brag book for a competitive job market. And they can get a free chapter from either of those websites.
oh wow, and it's
Knockout, KNOCK, outpain.com. That's going to help them with their back pain. And then the BraggFactor.com, they'll go there to get yes, that's correct, for knockout pain. And
nice.
the other is the BraggFactor.com.
Awesome. And I had that one ready. So
You
if
got
you,
that one ready.
I had that one ready. I just didn't have the knockout pain.
Right.
But if you are listening, so it's the Bragg, it's TheBraggFactor.com. So the BraggFactor.com. And then the other one is Knockout. So it's KNOCKOUTPAIN.com. Those are the 2 different websites. This is such good information that I'm hoping, as you listen or you watch this, just understanding that if you are somebody who is having pain and you are thinking that surgery is your only option. And I know I have had people in my life that one recently that had hip surgery and it actually went bad. So they had to go back in and correct what they did wrong, which put them into even more pain. And now it's even extended. So I think what you do is so important.
Right. And the other thing is, if that knockout pain helps with your pain, but also if you're someone who's looking to change your career. And so you say, well, what is the pain doctor doing? The common thread is I treat physical pain and I also treat people who have the pain from lack of self-confidence and not knowing their value. So that's the common thread that I do between knockout pain and the Bragg Factor. So if you're an entrepreneur or you're someone seeking to want to know what can you do career-wise, the Bragg Factor helps you with that and knock out pain with your physical pain.
Amazing. I love how you meld them together too. That is wonderful. Any last final thoughts or tips, or I mean, you've already given, I feel like, so much value. But any final things that you want to share?
The final thing I wanted to share for those who are thinking about when we said going by the desk, nobody gives you a raise without you bragging. If you have a problem with bragging, I want you to know that one thing that all you have to do is get a bragging buddy and take that bragging buddy with you when you go to networking events. So, Kelly, the way that would work is you and I would go together. You tell me about the things that you've done. I tell you about the things that I've done. By the time you work that room and I hear that how well people received what you said about me and they start asking me questions about me, I then know that that 30-second brag that we talked about earlier is working because people were engaging me. I then talk about you. And so then people start asking you questions about you. By the time you do that 10 or 15 times at that networking event, guess what? You won't be shy anymore about bragging because you will see how well it was received when I said good things about you and vice versa. So I tell people, brag with intention, but practice your 30-second brag. Try it out with your friends and make sure that they can understand who you are, what you do that benefits others, and what is unique about you that makes you different than the other people. And then take a bragging buddy and just go to that networking event and work that room, and then you won't be shy about it anymore.
I love that. I actually have a couple people in my life that whenever I get around them at any networking, they're like pointing out all the good things that I'm doing and I was like, "Well, what about you?" So, I love
Right.
having that partnership of how can I brag on somebody else and have them brag on me, and it's so nice to hear going back to kind of what you were saying even with the laughter, and how that can really help boost your endorphins and help your mental health. I think that it could be a really fun game to play at the networking event and get a little bit of laughter out of it too.
You get a little laughter out of it as well. And
Yeah.
we don't laugh enough. And that's what I say, don't spend your day without having laughed about something because you're depriving yourself of the health benefits of laughing.
Yes, yes, it's so good. This was amazing. Thank you so much for coming on and being the guest today and just sharing all your experience. I would highly recommend if you are somebody who is, whether you're dealing with pain or you are wanting to become an entrepreneur or figure out what else you can do in your ju- entrepreneurial journey. So many words together.
Right.
Make sure you reach out to Dr. Bragg and she can share all of the amazing things that she's doing. But I so appreciate you for coming on today.
And I so appreciate you having me. And I wish everyone good luck in diminishing their pain, whether it's from lack of self confidence or value, or whether you have a physical pain. Know that if you use some of these tools, that perhaps you too can decrease those pains.
Yes, so good. All right, y'all. That was another amazing episode of the Make Mental Health Matter show. I don't know about you, but I just got a lot out of this just conversation in general. I know that I oftentimes my pain, at least recently, has been more in my hips, and so as I get as I get a little bit older, I notice that it's in my hips, and that's really where it is for me. So knowing
Hands on.
Oh yeah. See, Dr. Bragg told me that I need to do some more manual. So yes, amazing. I love that. Well, next time, make sure you join next time. I'm gonna drop these one more time. So it is TheBraggFactor.com. You can go there and or knockoutpain.com. So make sure you go check those out, and reach out to Dr. Bragg if you have any questions about any of the things that she talked about. And no matter what, I will see you back here next Monday, whether you are listening or watching on E360 TV or on Dream Vision 7 Radio. I will be back next Monday. Bye, y'all. Have a great day.